Hi everybody. This coin flipper one has caused some people some troubles, and I don't blame you at all. There are some questions about exactly what the problem is that make it a little bit difficult to get to the coding. So I want to clarify that a little bit and then run through a quick demo of kind of how to get it done and how to think about it. As I do, I want you to look at the process of sort of breaking down a problem and making sure that you're getting the proper results along the way instead of trying to get it all done at once. Okay? So the question has you flipping a coin 100 times, seeing how many runs of 6 or more of the same, heads or tails, you get, zeros or ones, since we're actually using random, and then running that experiment 10,000 times to sort of get a percentage. The question is, do you count runs more than once within a given sequence? In which case it would be possible maybe to have more than 10,000 runs of 6 or more within 10,000 tries. So as I've processed it, I think it's best to say that what we're looking for is to ask, is the answer to the question when you flip a coin 100 times, what are the odds that you will get at least one run of 6 or more? That makes it clear that any run of 6 or more within a set of 100 means that that set of 100 had a run. So it's either yes, it had run, or no, it did not. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and create a new file. I'm going to call it CoinFlipper.py. And I know that I need to import random. And then I'm going to break this down, and the first thing I know that I need to be able to do is get a list of 100 coin flips. And I want that to come out as head or tail. Okay? So I'm going to need to get my list of heads or tails. So I'm going to call this list coins equals empty, and I don't remember what the program said to call the variable. I'm just doing it in ways that make sense to me. So I've got a list of 100 coins, and that's going to have 100 coins. So I know that I need to flip in range 100. Okay. I'm going to just call this n equals random.randint 0 to 1. So that will be flipping a coin and getting a 0 or 1. If n equals 0, then I'm going to coins.append heads. Doesn't matter which way you go, heads or tails. Randint it has 50-50 either way, so it doesn't really matter. Else, I'm going to do coins dot find the right key there, t. Okay, and then to test this out, I'm going to print coins, and then switch to operating systems here. Notice that since print coins is indented back to the main line, it's only going to happen at the end of the flips. Go ahead and run it. And we'll see down here, I get, looks like about 100, and it looks right off the bat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got a set of 7. So the question is that one run or is it 2? Doesn't matter. This is a run of 100 that got a run of 6 or more. So now I need to figure out how to find out whether or not if there is a run of 6 or more. That's what I need to do next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop through that list. I'm going to need to know, so I'm going to start with, I don't know anything. Okay, then I've got one H. This isn't an H, so now I've got one T. Now I've got two T's, now I've got three T's, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now I've got one H, right? In fact, I'm going to run this again because having a run right off the bat makes it a little weird. So here we go. I've got nothing. I've got 1H, 2H. It's not an H, so now it's a T. So I need to know what the previous letter was And if the current letter is the same as the previous letter, then I'm going to add 1 to it. Otherwise, I'm going to start my run back at 1 and set the previous to this one. So I'm going to loop through coins for coin and coins, but I also already need some information to start. I need to know what the prev is, and I don't know if it's going to be a heads or a tails to start, so I want it to be neither of those things, so I'm just going to make it n to start. I know it's not going to be either of those, and then I need to count the runs. Run equals 0. So if coin is the same as the previous one, then run plus equals 1. That's all I have to do is add 1 to the run. If not, then run is going to equal 1, because now I've got the first one of these things, and prev equals coin. Okay, because coin is going to be this one, so coin is h, coin is h, coin is t, coin is h, right? So I'm going to set the previous one, sort of what I'm looking for here, as coin. So if I look at this, prev starts as n, and then I come here to this first one. If coin equals prev, does h equal n? No. So run is now 1, and previous now is h. Then I move on to this one. Coin is h, prev is still h. So I'm going to add 1 to it, so now I'm at 2, right? And then I come here, I'm at t. Does t equal h? No. So my run is back to 1, and previous now equals t. Okay. The next question that I want to answer is, how am I going to find out if run equals 6 and or more, I suppose? Depends on what I do when I run into 6, and what to do. So I'm never going to have to worry about if it gets to 6 if I'm on an else, because I'm going to set it to 1, so it can't be. So that's work for this condition, if coin equals prev. Run plus equals 1. If run is 6, then what do I want to do? I would want to say I need to somehow be counting my runs within a list of, I'm going to do this 10,000 times. And then I want to break, because I want to get out of this for loop, because I don't care how many more there are. I only care about 1. So I'm going to count up here before I do. I'm going to put it here, runs equals 0. I'm going to use the same streaks equals 0. That's the same vocabulary they were using in the problem. So streaks plus equals 1, and now I break. That's going to come back up to here. Is there anything else I need to set up? I'm going to break out of the for loop, and I'll drop back down to here. And then I'm going to, I want to test this stuff. I'll just print streaks for now, and we'll see what this looks like. All right, so I'm looking for ways to verify my work. How would I verify it best? I would want to know what coin and prev are, right? So I would print coin, and prev, and I'll put a colon after prev here as well. We'll see if that gives us the information that we really want to make this work. Okay, so here's what happened. It did h, t, 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 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm surprised that it got up to 8. So here I'm going to say because I'm only did it, maybe that's why. I'm only printing that here. So I want to, sorry, I'm working in the wrong operating system here. I want to do that. Undo what I just did. I'm going to cut that out, and I'm going to do it here because I should have a better understanding now of what my results are. There we go. So tails was nothing, heads was tails, tails was heads. So we'll see that what should happen is every time there's a change, prev should change. So TH, but previous was T, so the coin TH, TH, H, T, T. So you'll notice that the previous here was H, the previous here was T. And then as I come down here towards the end, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 T's in a row. So there it was 1 because the previous was H. There it was 2 because the previous was T, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And it detected a run there. That's good. And it broke, right? And it did print streaks. Okay. So now what I want to do is take all of that. And the thing I have to watch out for here is I want to take all of this, everything that needs to change every time I run, and I want to do this 10,000 times. So I'm going to tab all that in. I'm going to say, put in a new line here and say for experiment. I don't really need the parentheses there. In range 10, I'm just going to do range 5 for now so that I don't overwhelm myself. Get the colon at the end. No, I'm not going to take your survey. And F5, run. Okay, 2, 3, 4. That one took a long time. 5. This is where I ran it. And I ended with 6 H's in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I rolled again, or flipped the coins again, I should say. And I ended up with 6 heads in a row. And then I flipped them all again, and I ended up with, this one took a long time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 H's in a row, 6 T's in a row, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So out of 5 rounds of 100, I ended up with 5 streaks. 5 is not a very good sample, so now I'm going to up it to 10,000. And then I'm going to run it. And we'll let it scroll past us for a while. By the time I'm done, I'm going to take out those prints because they're not going to be useful to me anymore. Right now it helps me to know that it's working, even though it makes it take longer because the process of going into the screen and printing out the results it takes time. So I ended up with 8,052 runs out of 10,000. Okay, so how do I turn that into a percent? Well, streaks divided by 10,000 would give me the results, right? Times 100, so I'm just going to take a couple zeros off. And I know they did this a little differently in the book, but this is how I'm going to do it. And I haven't taken out my prints yet, but that's okay. It shows us what's going on. It's a lot more dramatic this way. We can get a sense of how long each one's taking. Now, it would be worth noting that you could shorten this up by counting as you flip the coins, but it's good practice to do that. So last time we had 8,050 something, I think it was. This time it's 8,086. I'll go ahead and take the prints out now because I don't really need them. I'm just going to trust now that it's doing what I want. I'm going to put a hashtag there and a hashtag there and run it. And now, see, it's a lot less dramatic this way, but it still takes a long time. 79.93%. If I run it again, I'm going to get, should be right around 80%. That's actually the first time that I have found one of these that came up less than 80, so 80.79%. So a pretty good amount of the time we end up with a run of 6 or more within a flip of 100. So that should be a decent demo for you, I hope. Please let me know what questions you have. This is a pretty challenging problem, but hopefully this will help to get you there and help you think through the parts that we did. So I'm going to review that real quickly. I knew that I needed to be able to get a set of 100 flips into a list, so that's what I did first. I figured out how to get my random in place. I ran 100 times, and then I printed it to make sure that I could get that. And then I knew that I needed to figure out whether or not there were 6 in a row in there, and so I played around a little bit with that. Test often. See what results you're getting. Print stuff out that will be meaningful for knowing how well your program is working and whether it's doing the things that you need. And then I experimented a little bit with running that multiple times. I started with a low number so I didn't have to sit and wait around. And when it worked, then I popped it back up to the high number. If I was still not very confident, I could have gone with something like 100 or whatnot, and that might have worked a little bit better. So this is kind of what we're looking for. Try it out, see if you can make it work. Please make sure that as you're programming, you're understanding what you're doing. It's a lot like learning a language. You might be able to parrot back the sounds that somebody's making, but unless you really understand every line of code or every word that you're using in a language, you're not maybe getting it as well as you want. We want to understand it well enough that we can create with it, not necessarily based on somebody else's problem, but based on the problem that you have or that somebody you're trying to help has. So, thank you.